Hey, what's going down, Savages? Welcome to episode 9 of The Savage Show. I'm your host, Stefan Paulin. And for episode 9, I had the pleasure of talking with Terry Tam. Terry's a great friend, also a fellow podcaster. He is one of the hosts for the podcast Hot Sauce Sports. Sports podcast, as indicated in the name. I've known Terry for years. We were in a fantasy hockey pool together years ago. And when I got into podcasting, he quickly became a recurring guest on my podcast. He's into podcasting now. He's doing his own thing. He's doing great. Hot Sauce Sport is just fire. I love what they're doing over there. Check them out. They're available on YouTube and wherever you download your podcast. Terry and I share a lot of similar interests, included mixed martial arts. I believe he's a brown belt. Yeah, jiu-jitsu brown belt under Gracie, and a great sports fan. So we always have lots to talk about, but we don't just talk about sports, as you'll see in this episode. Anyway, won't keep you waiting any longer. I really hope you enjoy episode 9 of The Savage Show with Terry Tam. A lot of the times I get away with a lot of shit. Not I get away. It's not like I'm trying to be an asshole or something, but I'm like, I've never had anybody like confront me about anything. And I'm like, it's weird.
It's the benefit of having like a death stare, a crazy beard, and a bunch of tattoos.
And the people that know me know that I can actually throw down if shit went down. So,
and just if anybody follows you on Instagram, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's gonna run after me and destroy me, and then be nice about it.
Yeah, you can't outrun me. I'll run the shit out of you. No worries.
Well, at least maybe for like the first 20 seconds, but then after.
Yeah, you can sprint for 20 seconds, but I'm gonna give you a 20-second head start. I'm like, go ahead.
I'll see you there.
Man, thanks a lot for doing this. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, buddy.
It's your first time on The Savage Show.
It's true. You want to do it in French?
Nah.
How's that going for you?
I've got a couple episodes, but I got a couple coming up there. I'm recording a French one next week, and probably after Christmas as well. I'm probably going to take a break. During like the next couple of weeks there during the holidays and stuff. I normally don't do much, but if the opportunity comes up, I'll do a podcast and shit, but I don't think so.
How's it been with the French?
I've got good response. The first guest I had on, Mike, and it's probably the most popular episode I've done so far. And I enjoy it. I wish I could do more. It's I don't know how it is with you guys, with Hot Sauce Sports, but are you in charge of getting the guests, or do you guys have someone that does that?
Recently we changed it up. We have our social media guy. He wanted more responsibility, so I said, okay, you'll be their guest booker. So we gave him, so he gets most of the guests, but I'm still looking for guests all the time. Like I got like 3 guests for next week, so like we all do it, but we have one guy that makes sure we have a guest.
That's awesome. And you guys have a guest pretty much every week now, no?
Yeah, we try to. So we run the 2 shows, the Weekly Sauce and the Hot Sauce Sports, and we always try to get a guest. This week we didn't have one. Actually, we technically did, because what I do is I pre-record the interviews. So like, let's say I have a kid, like I got a kid, the left tackle for the Syracuse University team. He's from here, Montreal.
Yeah.
And he's like a big prospect. So I had him on, and I did the interview myself, and then I just put it into the show. But I'm fucking pissed because I put it in, and now you can only hear on one ear that interview, just the interview. It doesn't make sense. Like when you listen to it,
it recorded in mono, like just on the left side.
That's what mono and stereo means.
Yeah, mono is 1 track. Stereo is in 2 track, left and right, right?
So that's what it is. I accidentally changed it then, because sometimes I'm not the best editor. I always fuck up. I find ways to fuck up. So I always play around with the settings. I probably switched it to mono by accident because I'm an idiot, but it's okay.
It sucks because like I had this thing in my head. I'm going to get like some French guests or some English guests, and it's going to go well. But sometimes you try to like find people that you're like, oh, maybe I can invite him. I don't know I don't know if it is like this with you, but for me, sometimes like I'm like, ugh, should I ask this person? Like, I hesitate a lot when I go to ask my guests, like
because you're
because
gonna get a no.
no, maybe I don't know. I've always been a fucking. It's weird to admit this, but I've always been afraid to like rejection, right?
Yeah, so you're
So
scared of the no.
yeah, I'm like, oh, like, is it like, is he gonna see my message and feel awkward? Because sometimes I don't know, maybe it's because it's my own insecurities, right? If so, like, if someone asked me to be on their podcast, like, if you guys ask me, I'm like, fuck yeah, like I enjoy it, obviously because I do podcasting myself, but there's a few people that I've been meaning to ask. I'm like, man, I really want to have a conversation with this person, and it's like I don't know if they're gonna feel comfortable or like I don't want them to feel awkward, so I kind of hesitate and I kind of procrastinate a little bit about that. But for the most part, like it's been going well, you know. Like when I relaunched La Savage Show, like I had this idea in my head, and I said it in the episode last week. Like I wanted it to be more like a talk show, but like because of COVID, now we're forced to doing this with this technology, right? So I'm like, I enjoyed this. I actually enjoyed this during the pandemic when I was doing a bunch of them. And I'm like, at least I get an opportunity to have guests that I would never have on before, right? Like you've been in my office / studio before. Like I just normally have people come in and sit down and shoot the shit, right? And I enjoyed it a lot that way because I enjoy
it's ideal.
Because I enjoy having a conversation face to face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect for me to get used to this style of podcasting so fast. And I figured it out. You know, with Zoom, for me, it came like, I'm like, oh, this is so easy. And I can record, and it records the audio as well. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I have barely anything to do, right? Like you call in to my Zoom meeting, I hit record, and then we talk for an hour and a half. And then after this, it saves everything. And all I have to do is like, I put it in iMovie. I add like the graphics over it, you know, the background. And I add the audio track at the beginning with the intro and the audio track at the end with the music outro. And I add these little graphics, and I'm like, literally takes me 30 minutes to do everything. And then boom, I extract in audio, and then I extract in video and audio. And then within a couple of hours, you know, the thing that takes the longest is because I have an old ass computer, and that when I do the extract from iMovie, it takes 2-3 hours for the video. Because I put it in,
that's crazy.
Yeah, because I put it in HD number. Dude, I have a Mac that I bought in 2011.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, every time I hit record or every time I get ready to record a podcast, I fucking cross my fingers because I'm like, I really hope this shit doesn't crash like right now. Yeah. Like before this episode, before I started recording this, I got in my office and my computer was shut off. It never shuts off. And I was like, all right, this is it. It's fucking crashed. I'm pressing the button and it comes on and I'm like, all right, okay, I'm good. And
we're good for today.
Fuck, man. But yeah, so
the editing process is fucked up. Even with me with Weekly Sauce, I do all of it. And we use Zoom for the interviews. And then because my co-host is the intern and he lives in California. So we always do it on Zoom. So it's super easy. And then I just record it while it's going on. I record it on Audacity. So Audacity, because we don't have, it's not, we don't do YouTube. We don't post it on videos. It's only audio. So I record on Audacity. Then Audacity is done. I put the intro, outro, fade them in, fade them out. Salut, export, takes 2 minutes, and then I have it.
That's for your Weekly Sauce episodes, right? So you only do audio for that one?
Yeah. So you actually probably it might benefit you. It might save you some time to just have Audacity open and recording as you're doing the interview, and then the audio is already done. So all you have to focus on the saved item from Zoom is the YouTube. You only have to extract the video.
I wanted to try that because I know, but I'm afraid that if I run 2 programs at once on my computer while I'm recording, it might either freeze or fucking crash. Because that's what happens sometimes. Like if I have Audacity in the back, like I need right now, like I have this software that I downloaded. It tells me how much RAM I have free right now in my computer.
Okay.
So when I see it going low, I can hit a button that says free memory, and then it makes it a lot more efficient for my computer to run.
Okay.
Like that's how like I have to constantly babysit this fucking thing so it doesn't like conk on me mid podcast, and then I'm like, fuck.
Are
Because I
you?
know like you, like your audio problem, you know how it's fucking frustrating when
Oh
you're
my God.
done with an interview and you're done with a podcast and you're like, man, that went well. And then you click, and then for some fucked up reason, there's no audio, or the audio
Oh,
is fucked up, or
it
you're like,
happened to
God
me.
damn.
It happened to me. I was so excited. My brother had tagged me on this guy, this author. He wrote a book. This book, he wrote. It's about Greece winning the Euro
Yeah, I saw
2004.
this. I saw that post.
So, so we interviewed him, and it went fucking amazing. I exported it. It was done. I go back the next day, maybe 2 days later, so I can upload it. The file's not working.
No. Oh,
It does.
is that the one you texted me about?
Maybe.
Like
Probably.
a month plus ago, you're like, dude,
No,
I
no.
just used Zoom for the first time. Where does it record? Remember that? Oh, okay, I thought it
Oh
was
no, it
about
wasn't.
that.
That was a while ago, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't about that. So this was for Weekly Sauce. So the process went fine. I recorded him on Zoom. Well, I didn't record him on Zoom. I was looking at him on Zoom, but I had my Audacity open. It recorded everything. I exported it. I go back. The file was like corrupted. I
Oh,
Googled. I asked people. It didn't work. I messaged the guy. He's like, yeah, no, we do it again. So we did it again. But like, some guys are nice about it, but like I don't want to lose that interview because it was such a good interview. And he was good about it. He came back the next time and it was fine. He was a nice guy about it.
oh, that's yeah, but you understand how like that moment when you realize that it's not gonna go well, or that the audio was, especially it's always audio problem, right? Or
Always.
video if you have video like me,
Yeah.
but like it's like fuck. I remember once I had a guest, like this was a long time ago. It was Yanni Sherbatov.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's one of the guests. Like sometimes I have guests where like I'm a little bit ambitious in the people that I want to get on, with my, when you start off in podcasting, like this, like me, like you get a couple hundred views if you're lucky on YouTube. And I don't even pay attention to the rest of it. Like the website that I used to upload to like Apple Podcasts and to Spotify and all that stuff, like it kind of keep Podbean. Yeah, you use Podbean? Is that who you use? It's price wise, it's the best.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's very easy to use,
and it's easy to use, right? And I have my friend Dawson too. He has a podcast, Gabagool 8, and he uses the thing. Yeah, and it's only 8 minutes. The podcast,
like that's a really good name.
I think this is like the second episode in a row where I fucking blow this guy. I try to blow this guy up. Like you've probably seen him. He's a wrestler, Wes Dawson.
Yeah, I know. What you're
right.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy for me is one of my favorite people on the mic.
And, he's funny.
And and he started this podcast, and it's an 8-minute podcast, and for 8 minutes he doesn't stop. And it's just nonsense after nonsense after nonsense. He did an episode just on Steven Seagal. Dude, it's the fucking funniest shit.
Okay, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah. Gabagool 8. And dude, I've been trying to tell him, like, he puts his stuff only on audio because it works for him. He gets to edit it. He's really good at it.
Oh, no, for short bursts, he's better off putting it on YouTube.
Yeah, so I told him, I said, dude, you should just set up a fucking camera, dress up with a background like this, easy setup, and just record it for 8 minutes, edit it if you need. But man, like, because I watched last night, me and the wife, we watched the first episode of Schultz Saves America. Did you watch this?
I didn't watch it yet, no, but I want to. Yeah,
it's like a 15-minute episode, and it's exactly the same style. He sits down, there's a camera, he's just sitting down on a chair.
Oh, it's his rants that he does there on YouTube, right? It's the same studio?
Yeah, it's the same type. I don't know if it's the same studio for the Netflix special, but it's very similar. And well, you've seen it. It's like he doesn't take a breath. It's like joke after joke after joke after, and then he's I'm like, dude, but
he's very good.
Dawson is the same way. Like you give him a subject and he's gonna come up with something on the fucking spot, and he's gonna adapt, and then he's able to find some funny shit. I'm like, dude, I've been trying to blow him up all this time because I think it's like, you meet some people sometimes and you're like, man, like it's just a matter of time before somebody fucking figures you out and goes, that guy's fucking money somewhere.
Yeah, it's true. He's doing it on video. He's wasting all that time on audio. But the thing about audio is that people listen to audio when they're doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting on a podcast while you're driving. You're putting on a podcast while you're washing the dishes, while you're cleaning the house, while you're just chilling at home playing PlayStation, while you're just doing whatever. while you're working,
Yeah.
while you're working out. So you're always doing something else. So your eyes aren't focused. People aren't going to listen to 8-minute episodes of audio. They'd rather listen to like Le Savage show because it's going to take an hour and a half, and that's how long my activity is going to be.
Yeah.
Where with video is if you post it online, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, is that people are actually looking at their phone and they're going to be able to see. They're going to be more inclined to watch him because of the way he is, they're not going to listen to 8-minute shows. It's hard to get a following that way when it's an 8-minute audio only. So he should, like Bill Burr does he used to do, well, he still does audio only for his podcast, and they're really long. So that's fine. And his is just like an hour long rant.
Yeah.
So Dawson's probably doing the same thing, but he needs to put it on video because it's so short. I think that's more ideal for him.
I think like even with this podcast that I'm doing right now, like I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the video aspect. Even though it's an hour and a half long, like I always try to keep them at an hour, but it's always about an hour and a half. Like, and every conversation I have, it's like about an hour 20, an hour and a half in, like it starts to dwindle. And that's when I decide to, like, I'm getting good at noticing when I need, like some people, look, I had Drew on and we went for 3 hours and I probably could have went for another 3 hours because he's the type of guest where like you give him a little bit and he fucking blows it up and can make 20-minute worth of content with one little aspect, right?
Yeah.
Some people, when it's more interview based, when I have somebody on where it's a little bit more about a specific subject, like sometimes there's more like back and forth, and that after a while, like an hour and a half in, you're like, okay, we've covered pretty much everything, and anything extra is just kind of like
you had Adam Kaplan on, and the first time I interviewed Adam we spoke for 3 hours and we had no idea because we just met each other on the call. So, and we got along so well that, when you meet somebody for the first time and you just agree with a lot of things.
Yeah.
You're just going back and forth, back and forth. Adam and I agreed on a lot of things and we were just going back and forth, back and forth. He asked me a bunch of questions and whatever. And it went really well, but it went like 3 hours and I didn't even realize it. I was walking around my house on my phone. And
you did his podcast first?
Yeah, I did his first. Yeah. And then he came on ours a few times. We did a few back and forth, like home and home, we would call them. And Adam's great. So there's always those guys that you could just talk to forever. I have interviews that last 16 minutes. I have other interviews that last 40 minutes because it works that way, So you always have to judge how the interview is going, and you also have to be aware that if you feel the interview's dying, so does the person listening.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing, is that an hour and a half mark is usually where the interview starts. Like where I do it often. It's like, all right, man, and then, oh yeah, what did you think about this? And it's like, but the interview is over at that point.
When you're thinking about something to say. Yeah. As you're saying, all right, then that's like like, give me a few more seconds. So what's my next question? When I find myself searching for the next question, I'm not into the conversation anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I noticed this, I think, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of long conversation podcasts like Joe Rogan and so on and so forth, where I noticed that after a while where the conversation is like, okay, it's just, they're just filling time at this point. There's nothing really interesting going on. So I kind of like, all right, I kind of guided in that direction. But like you, like sometimes I'll talk to someone, like I'm sure me and you, if we didn't have, I could fucking go all afternoon. Like we could talk about shit. There's so many, we could talk sports. We could talk anything, right? Politics if you wanted to, or MMA, whatever. But yeah, man, it's just like, when I restarted this, I loved what I was doing with the Savage Life. So all I really cared about was the name, because of, again, the idea of, I wanted to have French guests on. And then when I really got excited and behind the idea, I was like, oh, let me do this. Let me try to have a guest on in 1 week French, 1 week English. And then I kind of realized, like, it stresses me too much when it has to be too structured. Because then I worry about the small details too much, because I'm very like kind of perfectionist, but kind of like psycho in that way. So I'm like, if I'm just worried about who I can have on to have just a great conversation like I did before, then I think it works better for me. And so I kind of like adapted, even though I'm only like 9 episodes in now.
Yeah.
I kind of like, okay, it didn't really work. I didn't really enjoy that process. It put a bit too much. I don't know if it's like this with you, but I kind of see this as like I'm like a content machine, as a pro wrestler, Instagram, all that. And then podcasting now, it's like after a while, like you have to be careful on how much time you spend thinking about podcasts and the content you're going to put out when you're not doing it. Like when I'm at work or when I'm at home with the family, just chilling. Like if I start worrying about like, oh shit, after I don't have a French guest for next week, fuck, who am I going to, and I don't want to worry about that. If I have 3 English guests in a row, you know what? Fuck it. Once in a while, I'll have a French guest. It's harder to get right now, for me. So I'm like, I'm not going to put that pressure on me, and I'm just going to go with the flow. It seems to be working better. I think people are responding as well a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough also when it's because it's such a passion project for you that you can't turn it off. You know what I mean? Like my girlfriend gives me shit all the time because it's something like, she's like, oh, you're always doing this, you're always doing that. It's because I'm constantly thinking about who's next. Like who's next? What are we doing next? Do I have to write a blog? Do we have enough blogs on the website? Our Facebook, our social media posts are going out. Are they going out properly on time? I'm constantly thinking about these things, even though they run itself, like I have a few bloggers that are very consistent. I have one guy that runs all our social media. The show has been very consistent. It's one thing we made sure to focus on this year is not miss any episodes. And so we try really hard. And, the follows and the views are coming slowly. And those are the things that always in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, so when are we going to get like the surge of like 100 followers, 100 subscribers on YouTube? We're at 75 now or something like that. Most of our stuff goes on social media, so I'm always constantly like in the back of my mind just like thinking like, okay, when's it gonna happen? What do I have to do? If I do this week, oh fuck, maybe I should call my friend to get me this guy and this guy and this guy. And it's like, it's tough. You have that inner battle. You have to learn how to just like kind of shut it off and not do anything about it. So I leave all my stuff for the end of the night. The last thing I do is this stuff, blog, edits, all that stuff. Like I do it at midnight.
Okay. Yeah. See, I have to. I work good if I can get a schedule down. If okay, I'm gonna spend this time doing this time doing that. But man, for some reason, there's a disconnect between like actually scheduling and being on point with that shit, and then actually doing it.
Yeah,
I think about it. I'm like, man, my life would work so much more efficiently if I was a bit more structured. But I'm such in my own fucking routine every single day, like going to work, like I'm at work, I get home. Now with this COVID shit, it's different, but I've adapted to this. And then the kids are home, and then if I go for a run, I go for a run at this time. And then when I get home for a run, then it's like, then I start thinking about this. Okay, who am I gonna have on the podcast? Then I'm like, fuck, man, I didn't spend time with my family. I'm on my phone trying to get a guest here, get a guest there. So I'm all over the place sometimes, and I'm like, man, and same thing with social media. Like you just, to add to your point, you just said, like, it's like this content. I'm constantly thinking about the content I'm putting out. Am I putting out enough? And am I putting out too much? Am I spam? Do I feel like I'm spamming others? Like, I'm always trying to find that balance. And then when do I don't know if you guys schedule your posts in social media. I know some people do, like, right? Like you make sure that on this day, bang, 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 bang. Like I don't, I'm random with that shit. Sometimes I shit post. Sometimes it's like I haven't posted in 2 days. So like I feel like I have to be way more consistent. And then if I can just get these little tweaks in hand and just figure them out, and I know if I do them 2 or 3 days in a row, they're going to become a habit like everything else I have in my life. And then I'll be like, it's fantastic. It's part of my world, of my day to day now. But until then, it's like, I don't know. It's weird, but I'm trying, and I'm surprised by the amount of views and listens that I'm already getting, even though I've relaunched the show and changed it so many times. So
yeah, I mean, people gravitate towards you. I mean, I know that how interesting you can be, and I think that you have like kind of like a cult following, where there are people that want to listen to you. And it doesn't matter what the name of your show is, and even though you've rebranded it a few times, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But obviously consistency is the biggest thing. And if you're missing posts for a couple days, then, you know, people get disinterested very quickly. The what we do is so diluted, you know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be fun until it's supposed to be a passion project till it isn't.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's the idea behind it. Right. And for most people, it's going to be a passion project. For 99% of the people, it's going to be a passion project. You might make a few bucks here and there. You know, like we've made a few bucks off of sponsors and stuff, but that's
Yeah.
only gone back into the business, like selling merchandise and, you know, pumping articles and promoting posts and, you know, our page and things like that.
Yeah.
So like we haven't really made much on it, you know. So that's what we're battling with now, is trying to get that consistent sponsorship. But like we also don't want to lose the aspect of supposed to be a passion project. It's supposed to be fun for us. So as soon as it stops becoming fun, then you have a problem. And I think that's what you're dealing with too, where it's like, if you start getting on a schedule, then you start having those obligations, and then those obligations make it not fun anymore.
Yeah.
That's why I can't work on a schedule. I can be organized in my own brain, like for the day, but I forget a lot. Like I'll forget, like I woke up this morning not realizing we had the interview. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I have something to do today, like at around 11. And then I see your text. I'm like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
you know, it's like one of those things. And it's annoying that you have to go through that, but it's the reality where there's so much shit going on. Even though it's COVID, our brains are occupied by like reading articles, social media, like everything's all over the place. It's the weekend too, so you know you're with your girlfriend, you want to make sure that you give her time, and your family, you want to make sure you give them time, and it's like this constant battle. But as long as if you're able to dumb it down and dial it down to just like one moment where you do all your work, you're fine. That's what I do at midnight. I make sure everything's done, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah. It's I don't like your schedule works perfectly. You know, midnight is perfect for you because you don't have to get up in the morning to work. You work a later shift, right?
Yeah.
Like I wish I had that. It's messed up because sometimes I'll be at work or I'll be at home and I'll be like, I feel like a part of me right now just wants to stop everything and just be a normal person and just be a father and a husband and just come to work, show up at 7, leave at 3, go home, go for my little jog, do my little workout. And then that's it. That's my day. I sit on the couch. I can watch Netflix for the next 3 hours until I go to bed. And then I do it all again. And man, I can't. Like some days I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want it to become something where I'm going to one day make money and be famous and be this? I'm like, no, I'm like you said, it's somewhat of a passion project. And hopefully one day, you know, if I really get behind this and want to put 100% of my energy behind this podcasting thing, then hopefully one day I'll be able to make some money out of it. Like maybe that's the thing, or maybe, like I said earlier, it's like, some days I'm like, I just want to stop it all. But then that's only for a moment. And then after that, it's like, nah, fuck this. I'm like, all right, podcasting. Oh, by the way, am I still a pro wrestler? Man, that's all another thing I'm struggling with right now. Like when fucking wrestling gets back, like, am I going to go back to this? And it's like, it's been a struggle for a couple months now. I don't know the answer yet. I thought I did. I thought I said I was done with it. I thought I made my peace and say, you know what? I think I'm done with wrestling. I want to move on, put more energy behind podcasting and creating content in a different way. And then in the last month, it's flipped. It's like, no, I think I want to go back to wrestling. So I'm like, fuck, I'm torn. It's like, you know, I just turned 40. It's like, fuck, man. Like I need to I need shit needs to start popping but I think I need to focus my energy on either one way or the other way. Like, cause if I split my energy between both, I feel like I'll never be able to fully go full blast into something and accomplish it to the fullest, you know?
Yeah. You might need to, I mean, listen, my opinion, I don't think wrestling would benefit you now. I think that there's so many parts of wrestling that would really, it's going to be fun and you're going to like it, but then you might start getting back to the injuries and then the head stuff and all that stuff. So I think I would stay away from that. If you want to do it for fun and not do the shows and stuff, I can understand that. But then what's the point? You're kind of at a crossroads. You're like, I want to do it, but is it worth it? And if I do that, then I'm going to have to cancel something else. And
the thing with wrestling is that if I do decide to go back, I pretty much admitted to myself that if I do say, okay, you know what, fuck it, like I need to integrate myself fully into professional wrestling.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like I need to believe in it to the fullest. I need to put all my energy into my persona, into marketing myself as who the fuck I want to be. Like I had this idea in my head. I have all this idea in my head that if I do decide to go back and to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm giving it another go. I'm all ready to just flip the switch and then put everything, every energy. Like I have it planned out in my head. Man, like you said, like the thing that I still go back to is that during this pandemic, I haven't my body. I have injuries right now that I like is like chronic injuries
Yeah.
from wrestling. That'll never like I don't see it going away. I'm sure if I went to my therapist, my massage therapist more often, she might be able to make me feel better. But I have these little like my shoulders are like once it was the right shoulder, now it's the left shoulder. Like it's jacked the fuck up. My neck is jacked up, I'm sure, but it's but my head thing is what the body thing. I'm like, fuck, it's whatever. I'll be crippled, whatever, what the fuck. But the thing that worries me the most, like, is the head injury. And because I had a head injury right before this pandemic, like right before this shit hit, yeah, I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Like, yo, this is one of the worst ones. And look at all the shit I went through for like 2-3 months where it was like in my head, it was messed up. And it was because of the fucking head injuries. And I'm like, of all the things I don't mind putting my body through, like the pain and the physical shit, man, that head thing worries the shit out of me. And you're right. Maybe the pros and cons, if I weigh them really out, maybe it's just not worth it, especially with 2 kids and all that stuff. Like, it scares me. I might blow it out of proportion, but in my head, it fucking scares me.
It's scary to picture yourself not being able to do everything that you do now.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about it now, and like I have ankle problems. I've had them my entire life. I know it's just gonna get worse, and like I'm picturing myself not being able to, to wake up without like taking like the first 20 steps, of like a warm up just to get, my ankle flowing and my
You
neck.
do that now, right? So if you get up in the morning, it
takes me a couple steps. Yeah.
Me too. Like
Yeah.
my Achilles are so jacked up that it's like I barely can walk for like the first 10 to 15 steps.
You should get a Theragun, a massage gun.
No.
You should get one.
Yeah.
And massage your calves at night, right before you go to bed.
It helps.
Yeah,
sure.
big time. And you can find some cheap ones, like some good ones. I bought one for my brother for Christmas, but he got his own, so I'm gonna give it to somebody else. And they're not that expensive, some of them, and they're good. Like the one I got was like $180, but the one that I bought as a gift was $90, and it's the same shit. They're all the same. Yeah, you can get some good ones for that. And at night, you massage your calves, maybe your neck. You get your wife to massage your lower back, and it helps your hamstrings. Oh my god, my hamstrings are so tight. As soon as I put the massage gun on my hamstrings, it feels like I'm getting tickled. That's how tight they are. They're so sensitive. But then like after a couple seconds, they loosen up, and everything loosens up my legs. Then I go down to my calves, around my Achilles, and it works. It really works. You should do it.
Yeah, man. Look, with all the running,
you need it more than I do.
Yeah, with all the running I've been doing, I started stretching a lot because it's like, fuck, man. Like, and it's like I really like. It's messed up because in my head, I'm really trying to figure my body out throughout all this. Like when I started running a lot, like when I started training for that fucking marathon, like I started noticing like, okay, I'm getting more pain. Like for me, it was the hip. The whole 30 days was like the right hip for some reason. So I knew it was the IT band, I think, on the side. So I was trying to like foam roll, then stretch. Then I would text my therapist. She's like, yeah, try this, and I was like, fuck. And I was able to cope with it, but stretching has made a huge difference. I've noticed anyway. It's like I try to figure my body out. It's weird. Like I use all these things. I put my body through like long runs and all this, and then I get home and then I try to like kind of like negate the pain that I'm going to feel the next day. Okay, I'm going to stretch, I'm going to foam roll. The more I've been doing it as an athlete, you get to know your body like so well. But I find that one of the things that has that kind of like gotten better is my pain threshold.
Mm.
I question sometimes like how if someone for 5 minutes was in my body, would they be like, holy shit, you feel all of this all day? Or they would be like, oh, you're such a pussy, I don't feel anything, like in my head. But I'm pretty sure that if someone that does barely any or that works out, but like not like what I do, if they'd spend 5 minutes in my body, it'd be like, dude, I don't understand how you,
Oh yeah,
right?
I feel the same way. It's like, oh, it can't be that bad, but like, there's times where like my neck, I'm jacked up. Like I went to jujitsu a few weeks ago, like a
Yeah.
sketch, and my neck after we did like stand up rounds, and my neck after from the top all the way to my middle of my back was destroyed, absolutely destroyed, and people don't realize it's like how would this feel on somebody who's never felt this before? I've felt this before hundreds of times.
Yeah.
How would somebody else feel this? It's like, do you realize? You don't think you realize what the pain is of like a neck pain, or like not being able to walk properly, or like my calf. I have to massage my calves because both my ankles, one of them doesn't flex as much. Like I said, like I can crack it at any time I want. I think all the ligaments are gone, and so I can't stretch it that much, my calf. Like if I try to like, if I have a cramp or something, I have to like literally sit down and massage the cramp out. I can't stretch it out because my ankle doesn't go that far back. So
I see.
it only goes a certain extent. So it's like, it's tough. And then there's all these other little things. So you have to find different ways. And CBD helps. It helps just relax everything. And when you stretch on CBD, it's unbelievable. And stretch. I used to stretch a lot, but I don't have room in my new place.
Mm-hmm.
Slide down on the floor and stretch. I used to stretch a lot. Like I used to stretch for like 2 hours a night just in front of the TV, playing PlayStation and watching TV a little high or on CBD or whatever.
Yeah.
And to the point where I was able to put my leg over my head, in the minute, like after a jiu-jitsu round, I was so flexible. I could put my leg over my head. Now I won't be able to do that. But like I want to get back into stretching too. Stretching is the best thing you can do every day. If you stretching, you have to do it every day, 20 minutes a day minimum.
Yeah.
And then you'll be fine.
I go through
Especially
this
the hips.
Yeah, the hips. Me, it's the psoas muscle I've been spending a lot of time on with the running and the hips. Like there's a lot of things I've been learning about I've been reading a lot about how to breathe properly. Like,
Yeah.
I breathe through the diaphragm now. I do my best, especially when I run. Like I try to breathe through the nose as much as possible and then breathe through the diaphragm where I don't use the shoulders. So I don't go up and down, and I expand my belly in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the
like
same.
Like Chrome Gracie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I've been working a lot. Like if I'm at work and I'm walking around, like I'll spend some time focusing on how I breathe. Like, and I'll see my belly sticking out and then in and out. And I try to and it's made a difference. I find especially when I go for runs, if I can run, like I can easily run 5K breathing through my nose the whole time. And when I get to the point where my it takes a while there, maybe like the first K, normally by the second K, I get my breathing down and, like timed with my steps. And then it's easy breezy. If I can get my heart rate to just level up and just stay constant and my breathing is good, man, I can go in and out through the nose the whole 5-6K. Like I did almost 6K last night, and even in the cold. And for the majority of my run, I breathed. It was through my nose.
That's
and
good.
It was. I find that breathing through the nose, I really try to focus on breathing through the diaphragm. Once I'm done with my run, within a minute or two, like I'm back to base. Like I'm not like. I can recuperate way faster for some reason. So
Well, there's more oxygen when you breathe through your nose. Your body starts producing more oxygen, so it doesn't produce it through your mouth. So that's what they say: always breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. So you can start filtering all the bad stuff in there.
That's why they say sinuses. That's why you have sinuses. Like you're supposed to breathe through the sinuses. Something to do with it. Also adds humidity to the air you're breathing in. So it's like. So when I read that and I started implementing that, I remember within the first week, I started implementing the nose breathing when I was working out. It made a big difference. I remember telling my wife, I'm like, it's crazy. I'm like, I could go for a run like in a sprint form, like really fast, like 1 mile run. And within a minute, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm ready to work out. I'm ready to jump into my workout. Where before it might have taken me 2, 3, 4 minutes where I'm like, Jesus Christ, like,
When you
because
breathe through your mouth, you work a lot more. And you're not, when you breathe through your mouth, you're not breathing through your diaphragm all the time because you're going like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
the air stops here as opposed to stopping down here, where you're supposed to fill up your diaphragm and then let it go. Even when I went to radio school, they said the same thing. Never talk, breathe through your chest. Always like settle in and feel your breathing through your diaphragm, or else you're going to be out of breath. So, like, when you hear like Mitch Melnick speaking and he talks for so long and he doesn't sound like he's out of breath, but then you hear somebody like Tony Marinaro's like, and he's
Yeah.
talking like, I'm talking about Montreal sports guys, but like just in general. So it's because Melnick knows the technique to just kind of sit there, settle in, let your belly do the basically breathing for you. And that's it. I have asthma, so it's like it bothers you. Can probably hear it a bit right now. And it's like, it bothers me sometimes, but like if I don't think about it, it goes away. As soon as you start thinking about it, if you think about it, you'll breathe like an idiot. But if you don't think about it and you just kind of settle in and just start talking, you'll be breathing through your diaphragm and speaking through your diaphragm. It's super key, especially for what you do.
It made a huge difference for me. And they also say that by breathing through diaphragm, you fill your lungs completely, and at the bottom of the lung is where the receptors, was it the alveolus, or what the fuck, whatever they're called, those little pockets, that there's way more at the bottom of the lungs, so you get more oxygen inside, and it's way better for blood flow and
Yeah.
for trend, like basically for energy functions or
What
whatever.
I do sometimes, Wim Hof, everybody knows Wim
Yeah,
Hof.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What I do is he does this thing where he empties out his lungs completely,
Mm-hmm.
takes in half, empties it out completely, takes in half, and he keeps on doing that. And you kind of get a high.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that sometimes when I'm short of breath and I have asthma attack, instead of taking my steroids, the pump, I'll just do that for a couple minutes. Just like empty it out completely and then bring back in half. Empty it out completely, bring back in half. Where Bas Rutten has asthma too, and he does different workouts. He does different breathing things too, where he exhales slowly until everything is gone, and then he brings it all back in. Then he exhales slowly until it's all gone, and then he brings it all back in. So
Mm-hmm.
there's plenty of different breathing techniques, whatever can calm you down, because breathing is super important. And Cron Gracie and Rickson Gracie are probably the two best role models, I guess, or like proponents for this stuff, because you can see what they can do with their lungs and their diaphragm and the way they move. And like I watch Conor Gracie's breathing techniques, and his stomach gets sucked in, and I can't do that because I have a belly, but like his stomach gets sucked in and it's all this, and his back becomes huge, and you see his lungs. If you look at a video of him on his back when he's doing his breathing techniques, his back expands because his lungs are expanding so much.
It's the rib
And
cage. The rib
yeah,
cage needs to expand, instead of like
yeah,
compensating and raising your shoulders. And then when you're raising your shoulders, then the air tends to want to go up your lung, where
yeah.
there's not as many receptors than at the bottom of the lung. And then your rib cage, they say that the rib cage, the cartilage and the muscle doesn't get any use. So you're
Mhm.
like, it's always stiff and sore and stuff. That's one thing. Like, I got my wife a couple nights ago to, like, I lay on my back and I get her to grab my arms, and I raise my arms, and she puts her arms on my shoulders, and I just say pull, because my shoulders are so jacked up. And also my rib cage, for some reason, on the left side, like, and it shoots up in the back, and like
You
I
need a
get
massage
this.
gun.
Yeah, I get this radiating pain sometimes, and I think it has to do with neck issues as well.
Yeah.
But it's like, and
It's
and
probably, you probably have tension, right next to your shoulder blade,
yeah,
in that lining. There's
yeah,
so many right there, and then that's causing all the tension in your shoulder, and then that's bringing it all the way back
mm-hmm,
here, and that's 100% what you're having, because I've had the same thing, where on this side, my right shoulder, I get knots in the back of it, and then with that one, if I don't do that, my neck, it goes all the way up to my neck here, and then my whole shoulder is fucked, the whole thing.
it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like, we've been talking about all these pains we've had for the past 10 minutes, and like, people are probably going like, I don't understand like how they function. Like, there's days where, like, I have a knot here where I can't move my neck. My legs are jacked up because my fucking my Achilles decided not to work today properly, so I'm
true.
fucking limping at work, fucking trying not, like, I'm dragging my feet, like my hip when I was running, it was my fucking hip, dude. I for a full the last week and a half before I ran the 42.2 kilometers, every step I took, my right hip would click, 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 click. Like I put my hand on my side here, right on the top of my hip, and I would feel the bump as I took the step right before it would like clop, clop.
Yeah.
Like the muscle would, I don't know what the fuck. And I was like, I would describe it to my wife, and she just like just nod her head slowly and just disapprove of every
Because she
fucking thing.
knows that in 30 years she's gonna have to push you in a wheelchair.
She's gonna have to wipe my ass. That's what she doesn't. She knows. She's like, one day I'm gonna have to wipe this motherfucker's ass
100%.
because Mister wanted to fucking drop elbows from the top rope and dive outside the ring and run 42.2 kilometers on 30 days notice.
But
Oh, man.
just to say is that I was I was having trouble breathing because, man, the heating on in my place, it gets so dry in here, and the weather doesn't help. So it's like, so in the morning I wake up, sometimes I have a hard time breathing, and I try not to take my pump until I really need it. And in the winter I take it more often. In the summer I probably never take it, like I'll probably take it for like a 4-month span. But just talking about my breathing and changing the way I was doing it, I'm breathing better now.
Does it help? Crazy. I don't know if you deal with anxiety, but me sometimes when I do. Now, when I start feeling like anxiety coming on, I start doing this breathing through the nose, like in through the nose 6 seconds and out through the nose 6 seconds, in through the nose 6, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I focus. And within, sometimes it'll be in bed and I'll have those fucking panic attacks, or like I feel the anxiety coming on, like, oh, you think you're gonna sleep? No, I'm gonna have you like, and then I just go through the breathing right away. And within 2 minutes, I'm back to like my heart rate goes down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, okay. Like it really works. Like it really fucking works. Like if I feel works, the breathing.
What works with anxiety is just focusing on something, And it's funny because I don't watch the show, but I watched a few episodes with my girlfriend. She was watching Grey's Anatomy. Mm-hmm. And one of the doctors there, she has anxiety. And she said, as she was talking about how she deals with it, and she goes through something that she knows all the steps and how to do it. So she was talking about some like surgery or something, whatever. And I was thinking about it, it's like, so if I ever get like nervous or an anxiety attack or whatever it is, what would I think about it? I would think about jiu-jitsu. Okay. So pass someone's guard. How do you pass someone's guard? Like, which way are you going to do it? Are you going to do it from side control? So start here, side control, put the knee in. No. Do all these things. And just going through that because you're familiar with it, and it just makes you focus on something else. In your case, it's the 6-second breathing. Mm-hmm. But just by doing that, it'll go away because your brain's not focused on whatever you're anxious about. You think you're going to sleep, or I don't know, whatever you're anxious about that day, and that's it's a big thing. Or just talking to somebody, just saying it. Like I was a little nervous last night. I told my girlfriend, and she just spoke to me for 2 minutes, and it was gone. Like that's all it is. That's
what I do now. Like my wife, I think it changed a lot during the pandemic because we got to spend way more time in the house together and stuff. And
she works from home too, I guess.
She works from home now, right? Yeah. And not saying that I didn't speak to my wife before, like we didn't have like that kind of communication, but like where our communication now like has like ballooned because we were forced for a few months to be surrounded by each other 24/7, And I noticed that I do the same thing. Like I initiated, and I think my wife understands that when I start talking about random shit, like just out of the blue, and it falls into a 15-minute conversation, she understands like, he's feeling, there's some fucked up feelings going on in his head, and this is how he cannot focus on that. So I'll just sit down and I'll just like start a conversation, and then I'll just be like, hey, have you? And then it's just like, I just need to talk. Yeah. And I feel like, and sometimes I
need to get out of your head.
Yeah. But sometimes what I feel like, I think people are afraid of, and I've been doing a lot more, is that whatever feeling or whatever I'm thinking of that is giving me the anxiety, I sit down and I talk to my wife about that. I'm
Mm.
like, I'm feeling like this, and this is what and I just go through the progressions. You know, like when you pass a guard, you're like, okay, I need to go through this. If he does this, I do that. I do this, he does that. Like I go through the progressions of like, okay, here's what I'm feeling. Here's why I'm feeling it. Maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of that. And my wife just sits there and she listens. She listens, and then we have a conversation. And
Yeah.
when I'm done, I'm like, man, I feel better. I feel better because I was able to talk about it instead of not having anybody to talk about it and then just having it play back in your head. And then you end up having a conversation with yourself in your head. And when I end up doing that, the fucking negative demons always end up winning, going like, you're nothing, you're full of shit, stop wasting your time. Whatever demons on that day decided to ruin my fun, if I let them have that conversation with me instead of putting it out there like I'm doing right now, you know, like I'm podcasting, or if I'm having conversation with my wife or with a friend, like, man, it's way better out here than it is in here, because if it's in here, man, I need, you know, and
You're
then I
gone.
need, yeah, and then after that, it's like, now I need to go for a fucking 10K run to work this out of my head. And that's why I loved running, because it gave me the opportunity to fucking, I'm like, if I needed to work some shit out, last night I need to work some shit out. It was minus, I don't know fucking what last night. I don't care. I
Yeah.
need to go for a long run. I went for a 5K run, 5.5, whatever. It was longer than I've gone in a long time. And it was like, I needed it. I'm like, I don't give a shit how if it's cold, if I'm going to be sore tomorrow or whatever. Like and it worked for the
Were
most
you
part.
sore?
Nah,
Yeah, exactly.
nah, nah.
So there's
My,
little things like that.
my body, it's weird. Like before, if I went for a 5K run, just like after not running, let's say for like 2 weeks, if I went for a 5K run, I'd say like before like last year, let's say 5K for me was like, oh my God, like I was struggling by the end of the 5K. Like it was like, fuck running. And then I would be sore. My legs would feel it. But now it's like, I can go for a 6K run and I'm like, all right. It's crazy how someone's body can adapt when you're doing something consistently. It's
Yeah, exactly.
fucking crazy, crazy, crazy.
I used to be like, jujitsu is like the thing that helps me with, if I get a little nervous, it's fine. I'll have jujitsu and whatever. But it happened once where I couldn't deal. Like the guy was on top of me, and it was just like I tapped and I walked off. Like I just couldn't. And then like this girl at jiu-jitsu, she's like, oh, just roll with me. She's small, but she's very good. She's a world champ at purple belt, and world champ. She's a champion at purple belt, and she's like, I will just roll with me. She's married to one of the guys there. So we're rolling together, and she was super chill about it, and she's very good, right? So we just flow rolled, and it felt really good after. Like I was able to finish the class just because I was able to just calm it down.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much it. Like that's all you need sometimes, is just kind of slow your brain down. And how you're gonna do that? Just focus on what you're doing right now. Don't focus on whatever made you anxious before.
Yeah.
And that's what running is. I don't know. Running to me, I feel like I'd be in my own head. I wouldn't be able to. I'm so scared of running because it's like my ADD goes through the roof. It's like, okay, there's a house, there's a car, there's like, am I breathing properly? Like there's all these little things. And then add on that, I can't even fucking run properly because of my legs.
Yeah.
So it's just, it adds like this extra like, oh, you're going to suck at this, so don't do it, And that's why I started biking. Biking is a lot different. You can focus on just like pedaling, making sure both your legs are pushing at the same pace, just forward, standing up, sitting down, like all these little things, and you're still getting a good workout in. So like you got to find what helps you just kind of push away from the demons, from the anxiety demons, just like the nervous demons. Everybody has it, nowadays. There's so many people that have it. Maybe in the 1920, nobody had it, or a lot of people have it, but we all have it now. And it's like, we all have it for the little things. And if you're able to just disconnect from that, I think it's the best thing. Like even with my girlfriend and I, it's like a common topic, and so we know how to deal with it with each other. And that's it. You have to have somebody that you can feed off of.
Definitely. And it, for me, the running, I never run with headphones on. And every time I say that to someone, they're like, what? They're like, you don't listen to music, you don't listen to this. I'm like, nah. I'm like, one of the reasons I don't enjoy running. When I started running, I figured it out. I figured that it was really good for my mental health because it was hard for me. Like it you can get yourself distracted with music, but it's temporary. I find even when I
Mhm.
worked out before, I would listen. I put my headphones on, and I constantly found myself fiddling with my phone because I didn't like this song. I didn't like this song. Step, skip, skip, and it fucked up my flow of my workout. So I'm like, I'm fucking listening to 3 songs the whole workout. I'm constantly flipping back and forth, and now I'm trying to deadlift, 350
That's why I
pounds.
listen to podcasts.
See this, but for me, it's either music that has to get me jacked up like mentally, like it has to be like some sort of like fucking pregame mix or like some song that gets me like rah. But then I realized that I could get myself there like just in my head. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. No headphones. And when I started running, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it even harder. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have it no headphones, just me and my fucking thoughts. And I'm telling you, like, once I started realizing that the first couple of Ks, everything rose to the surface with my anxiety, what I was thinking, and then that I was able to like kind of like work it out as I went along. Man, it was a no-brainer. And I was like, I started using running as this tool to really like refocus like everything in my life. And it just like when things were like I'd go for a run, and then during those 30 days it was so like there was one thing. It was very singular. It was that one thing for 30 days. I did nothing but run, recuperate. So it was kind of easier that way because I didn't have any other plans or everything else I had put on hold. I knew that I was going to relaunch this podcast right after I was done this marathon, but for those 30 days, there was nothing else. It was focused simply on the running. And so it made it easier. I just knew that I would get home, I'd put my fucking running shoes on, and then I'd go for a run. And if I told myself I was going to run 16 kilometers that night, then fuck, I was going to run 16 kilometers.
Mm.
And it shocked me how after a while it just got easier to push that line back and then just get to the line. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, 12K. Okay, 16K. Oh fuck, I did it. Oh, 18K. Oh fuck, I did it. Oh, half a marathon a week before running a marathon, done. Like I looked at the last 10 days that I ran, and within those 10 days before the marathon, I ran fucking 3 10Ks, a 12, an 18K, and a 22K. So I was
It's
like,
I would never be able to even consider running a 22K.
and I remember when I was done, I was like, all right. I kept thinking to myself, like, there's people that are going to train for a very long time to achieve this thing. Like you see people that like, I ran a half marathon. Like it's a great accomplishment. For some people, running a half marathon is going to be their biggest accomplishment in their life, their proudest moment. They trained for 6 8 months for this. They accomplished it. And I when I see things like that, I'm like, oh man, it makes me happy to have
Yeah.
some. But for me, running 22K was just part of the training process of getting to that 42.2K. And I ran it the Saturday before I ran 42K. Like there's no way I was back to normal by the
Yeah.
next Saturday. Like my body was jacked up, but I paid the
It's
price.
mental. It's all mental, right?
And yeah, and it becomes addictive for me anyway to push myself to the limit and then more and more and more. It's a fucking drug. And that's
Mm.
why I love running, because it's easy. It's one thing. How long can I run for? How long can I run for? Oh, you can run for 42. How about next year you try to do 50? How about
What
the
do you
next year you try to do 60?
what do you do? You do you know spots in your area? Like there's distances to this area, distances to this area kind of thing, or
During the training, what I started doing is that I would go on Google Maps, and then I would do, okay, if I run to this point, how long is that? And then I would clip and it would tell you, okay, this is 6 kilometers. So I knew if I ran there and back, I would do 12 kilometers. That's the only kind of like um, gauging point I would give myself.
okay.
Like the way I would do it is that during the week, I do like 5 8 10, And then on the Saturday, I would keep for my long runs. And every Saturday, I started ramping it up. It started at 12, 16, 18, half. I wanted to get to half a marathon the Saturday before because I just wanted mentally, could I last through a half marathon? I knew I could. I just needed to know how I felt after.
Yeah.
And so I could gauge how hard it was going to be to run the full 42.2 kilometer. And it was just like, I would try to map them out, but I kind of realized that, okay, I'll run here and I'll run there. And I was always, for the long runs, I realized that if I ran somewhere that I had never ran before, it made it a lot easier. If I didn't know how far I was along at this point, because a lot of the shorter runs.
That makes sense. That makes sense. When you're going somewhere and you've never been there before, the time goes by a lot faster.
Yes.
When you're going down the same path, it's just like working. If you work a 9 to 5 in a desk job, the first month probably flies like this, but then after a year, you're like, okay, this day's going by so fucking slow because your routine kicked in, you know, and you know all the houses that you're running by, you know the sidewalk how it is. You're not interested in the Christmas decorations on that house anymore, you know, because you've seen it already.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's all these little things, and you have to find it's crazy. You always have to find ways of tricking your brain into being surprised, you know.
When I realized that, I think the first, like, there's a Saturday I ran like 12K, and it was the first time where I'd run in a place that I had never run before. Like normally I would run to this point and then turn around, but on that day I just kept going.
Okay.
And it was one of those days where I was like, didn't really commit to running any amount of kilometers.
I knew, what kind of app do you use? Map
Run, yeah, okay. By Under Armour.
Yeah.
But I'm planning on getting like one of those like smart watches for running, mostly like a Garmin or something with a good GPS tracker, so I don't have to bring, because I really want. Throughout this process, I fell in love with running, and it's something that I want to do during the winter. So I'm planning on buying like.
Don't you have a Whoop?
I did have Whoop, but I stopped using it because I do. It's weird. Like, I love having all these stats, but it started fucking with me.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not rested. I had 16 disturbances last night. Why? You know, like
every day would tell me you're all right. You're at max strain now. Don't do anything for the rest of the day. And I'm like, but fuck, I'm like, I haven't worked out yet.
It's because you were at work lifting boxes and shit.
Dude, that's where the Whoop made me realize how much strain I would put my body through just at my work.
Yeah.
Just walking and having my heart rate like slightly elevated at like, 80, 85 beats per minute.
Yeah.
That one thing that Whoop strap made me realize was like, how my resting heart rate was. Dude, I have a resting heart rate. I stopped using the Whoop strap. I stopped, and then I started again during the pandemic. I got it back on, and then I realized how much it was fucking with me, because then I would get in my head, like you said, like the resting is like, dude, like, you didn't get enough sleep yesterday. You're only 40% recovered. So your optimal strain today is only going to be 9.8. Man,
how do they know that though? How do
they calculate the they use the heart rate variability, basically the time in between heartbeats, and they calculate that. That's how they can get the recovery. So if the time in between heartbeats is longer, it means that you're more recovered, and if it's shorter, it means you're not as recovered. It's not how fast your heart beats, it's the intervals in between each heartbeat. I'm dumb as fuck. I might be butchering this, so I apologize. But all this to say that it started fucking with me. But one of the things that I was super surprised with, it was my resting heart rate, because with my anxiety, I always think that I'm not in shape. That's one thing in my head that people might not understand, is that even though I run, I work out, in my head, I'm like, I'm not in shape. I'm not that in shape. And even if someone tells me like, dude, you're a fucking athlete, like, my resting heart rate was like in the high 40s, 47.
That's nuts.
And then when I started looking at the stats, they'd say if you have a heart rate at 47, you have an athlete's like you're like a fucking super
Yeah.
athlete. I'm like, wow. But that was my resting heart rate. It's like 40 in the high 40s, 50, 47, 48, 50. And I
And
was
what's
like,
your? That's
uh,
crazy.
I
Wha-
normally, if I'm during the day, if I'm working and stuff, it's like at 80 because I'm walking 85, 90. Like I'm walking, lifting boxes, wrapping pallets, like wrapping a pallet for fucking 5 minutes manually. You're just going around the pallet, and I try to do it as fast as I can, and as good as I can. You're pulling, you're pushing, but wrapping. Dude, sometimes I'm done wrapping a pallet, I'm sweating.
Sweating, yeah.
I'm so used to doing it 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day, even more sometimes, that it's just like go, right? So you kind of don't have that time to sit back and kind of go like, whoo. It's just like, all right, just keep going. And then I'd get home and my whoop strap would tell me, dude, you burned 3,000 calories today. And you're done. You're done. You're like, your strain is up. And I'm like, man, I have to go to the gym. And then I go to the gym, and then my whoop strap would tell me, you overstrained today. So now you need to sleep more. So I would go to bed at the same time because I'm a fucking idiot and I can't go to sleep early.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'd wake up and say, you're 29% recovered in the red. No exercise
What
today.
time do you go to bed at?
Between 11 and 11:30
Oh,
on
okay.
average.
That's not that bad. I go to bed like at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but I get up at 6:15.
Yeah, for you it's different. I wish I can be like. I mean, I can be the guy that wakes up early, but when you work a late shift, you have no reason to.
Yeah.
Because you have so much to do. You have so much time to do during the day, and then on the weekends, it's like, okay, I can sleep in. So you sleep like I slept until 10 today, and I'm waking like all week. I've woken up at 10 and I feel like a loser, because usually I wake up like I can wake up at 8 on my own on a normal schedule, 8, no alarm, just wide awake, 8 o'clock out of bed, no snooze, nothing. But I don't know what it is, man. It's just like this schedule's like fucking me up because I'm up until 2 o'clock in the morning. Even like I'm not the type of guy to just like go to bed right after work too.
Yeah,
I
it's
need
hard to
something.
do.
Yeah, I need something to decompress. Like, I don't smoke that often, man. Maybe a couple times a week before I go to bed. Um, and like I'll play PlayStation or I'll get on my desk here and I'll edit while I listen to a podcast or I'll watch like a YouTube video that I like or I don't know, something. I'll do something just to kind of decompress, not think, and then go to bed and wake up, do the same thing the next day.
Yeah.
And it's so tough to just get out of like to stay in a routine when you have like a specific schedule that kind of knocks you off your routine. And with you, it's like you had this Whoop band that's telling you can't do your routine.
Yeah,
I
because
get, I
it
get why
says
you
my
canceled.
body is fucked up.
Yeah, I get why you canceled it.
But
I never had one, but I'm interested. I'm interested in having one.
it's look, I want to be able to bring it, to use it, and to bring my body to the point where I can do all those things and be within the green. It goes green, yellow, and red. If you're in the red, you're not. It's not good. If you're yellow, so. But man, like once it would get in my head, right? When
Yeah.
it tells you I'm like, I feel fine. I guess I'm not. And then, well, you're done. Like for me, once I start believing I'm not fine and I'm not
Yeah.
recovered. Oh, you're right. I do feel tired. Oh yeah, my heart rate is elevated a bit today. Maybe I wasn't as recovered as I thought.
Trying to get in
When
shape so I can fight Jake Paul,
well, Jesus Christ. I guess all you need nowadays is a fucking platform and talk shit to anybody. And I guess you could just fight anybody at this point, right?
Well, that's what Conor McGregor did. He created that whole mentality, right? I mean, we just switched topics really quickly there.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's tough, man. You have somebody that you can like Conor McGregor created the whole mentality. He just said, I'm gonna fight these guys. Like he worked his way up, built his name,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I want to fight Floyd, and they did it. And I want to fight this guy, they did it. And like
Yeah.
anytime he wanted to fight somebody, they gave it to him. And I think that he created that whole mentality. And now I'm not surprised that it's kind of trickled into the influencers and these guys that are, they're athletic guys, these brothers that are millionaires already that have the boxing rings in their houses and all this shit, and they train with world class fighters. It's crazy to me that these guys are getting the opportunity to fight against Floyd fucking Mayweather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. And then I'm trying to bring it back to how if you just want to do something, you do it. You wanted to run, you do it. These guys wanted to be millionaires on YouTube. They are. They
Yeah.
wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather. They do it. You have to find a way to do whatever it is you want to do. And I don't like the guys. I mean, I respect them. They work hard, but and that's the key at this point. Is like you got to work hard at what you got to do. And as much as I want to hate on Jake Paul and Logan Paul, whatever, it's hard for me to hate on them because they work so hard at what they do.
They work hard and they figured out a way to get the attention. I think what helps these guys, and it's something I personally struggle with a lot, is they genuinely don't pay attention to anything anybody says about them. They just do what they think is going to garnish the most attention on them. They do that outlandish shit, and then people pay attention, and then the haters, because they're
mad. People get mad.
Yeah. But they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit.
Because they know the people that are mad are the people that are going to buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They know the people that are mad are the people that are going to watch their stories and follow them just to see, oh, what's this fucking asshole saying? You know what I mean? Dylan Dennis was the same way. Dylan Dennis came out, didn't have an MMA fight yet, and he's already calling out like Khabib and guys like that. So it's like, it's just the reality we live in now. You know what I mean? It's the reality we live in where you just do whatever you want to do. And if it bites, it bites. That's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
You can't be afraid to put yourself out there if that's the world you really want to be part of. Like, I think that for someone like us that try to create content in a social media age, I know that's like that for me. Like, you have to be able to put yourself out there doing the content. It's like you can't allow yourself to go like, well, like just start thinking about like who's going to listen to this, maybe if I say this, people aren't going to agree. Like, you just try to figure out who the fuck you are, really who you are, and then project that persona or that person. And if people like it, they like it. And the people that don't, they won't listen to you. And if some people feel the need to talk shit about what you do, then you can't.
That's a plus for me.
Well, because at the end of the day, like any press is bad is good press, right? Or whatever the saying is, right?
Like when like I write articles, I write blogs, and they're not the most coherent or well-written blogs. I write them quickly at night and I don't edit them. I just post them. So I'll get like some comments once in a while. Actually, I'm on the site now. I want to find one of those comments, but like I get some bad comments and like this article is dog shit, whatever. And so I'll respond to most of these guys and I'll say things like, oh, thanks for reading, thanks for the click, because that's basically what I'm trying to get at is just get these people to just to comment on it. You know what I mean? I want to. Well,
if they comment, that means they read the article though, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like one guy's like, this article's dog shit. The writer has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. No. All this shit. Backing a bit off Terry. Well said. Oh, I gotta find it. Fuck. I want to find. There's a few of them. I had like a string of like some really bad ones here. This article is dog shit. A player shouldn't risk their lives for your entertainment. Maybe finding you a job. You're an awful writer. All because I said. Because I was mad that some NFL players were opting out of the season because of COVID.
Yeah,
I didn't get mad. I didn't get mad at the player for doing it. I was mad at the situation, and that's what I said. And then even in the article, I even mentioned the guy from Montreal, le rendu vernis tardif.
Yeah,
I even mentioned him saying like he's doing a great job on the front lines, but it sucks that he's not playing, whatever. And like, so this guy read it, but like quickly read through, only took the bad parts. Or took the parts that he didn't agree with, and he just started made a comment. So people just like that. So then I responded to him, and I said, "I'm like, you didn't read past the title, but thanks for reading." So like little things like that, just to shove it to them.
Thanks for the click.
Thanks for the click. Always.
It's yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. I don't even know if we were recording, but it goes back to saying that there's not a lot of people when it comes to me that'll like tell me to my face if there's something wrong with what I said or what I did for some
Yeah.
fucked up reason, right?
Yeah. I
It's
think it's
like
the way you look.
it's sometimes, you know, that whatever energy that I put out when you don't know who the fuck I am, you're probably like, dude, that guy's fucking like intense. And then you go on my Instagram and you're like, this guy's a fucking maniac. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, and then, but at the end of the day, you know me, we've known each other for a long time. Like I'm really nice. Like I'm looking to just have some fun and have some great conversation, but
Yeah.
I'm very I want to learn, you know, like every day I want to learn something new. So I'm always like curious about learning new things. That's why I enjoy having great conversations. But
Mm.
if you look at me, for someone that doesn't know me, and he goes like, you'd never think that I like to talk a lot. You're like, that guy
Yeah.
doesn't look like he talks a lot.
That guy looks like he shoots before he talks.
So, but you know, I'm all about love and peace now. I don't want to, you know, I don't enjoy confrontation for the most part. But
Yeah.
you know,
It's tough.
it I enjoy that. I like that you put yourself out there with your articles though. That
You
like
have to.
you're willing to just go, I'm writing my shit, you know, and
Yeah.
you're not worried about typos, you're not worrying, you're just like, this is what it's
Well,
in my head.
I should worry about typos. I
Yeah,
just don't.
that, but you go, this is what's in my head, and you type it out and you post, and
Yeah.
people react to it. Like, again, it could be positive or negative, but at the end of the day, you got that click, you got that article garnished enough attention for someone to go, I'm gonna click this and read it. If it's dog shit, or I think it's dog shit, the people that comment though,
I want to see how many
right?
clicks I had on that article. The people that comment are loser. Like this guy's name is John. Maybe it's John Flynn. Maybe it's our boy. Um, I gotta find this article. If I'll find it, I'll find it. I want to see how many actually clicks I got on it. But like it's crazy the clicks that we get on the specific um articles and stuff like that. Like we're still getting clicks for the year. The biggest website we have is this one. It's called Henzo Gracie hates Gina Carano's nude photos. That was my article. To this day, it's still the number one searched article on our website.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I have over 5,500 clicks on it. I wrote it in July, and
What
yeah,
website you use? It's just like a blog website?
yeah. WordPress. We use WordPress.
WordPress?
It's very
And then
easy.
you just,
Yeah,
I used to work, I used Wix.com a lot, which is
I've
like
Wix
kind
for
of,
my business site. And it's good. Wix is good too.
I used it when I had a t-shirt business way back in the day, and then
Okay.
I just kept using it for podcasting and stuff, because I feel like I've been thinking too about the writing. I do zero writing. I do zero writing because oh man, if I write something and then I have to, like, I'm not good at grammar, you know?
Okay.
And so it's like, oh, am I using the right, especially I'm fucking French and I'm writing in English. Like, even if I tried writing in French, it'd be probably even worse, like way worse.
Well, you want to write
But
for us?
real, yeah, I
Whenever
mean,
you want. Whenever you give me an article, you tell me, and I'll just post it for you, or I'll
okay.
give you access and you post it.
Okay, man. Yeah, maybe I'll start doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I feel like maybe if I started writing stuff, my it would give me more ideas, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
more like subjects and shit like that and stuff. So, but I'm always intrigued though by the people that take the time. Like again, I've never had really anybody comment negatively on any of my posts or anything I've said I've posted before, but I have like you, like I've seen people write like really negative. Like I feel like they're just doing it for the confrontation, right? They don't really believe, they might believe what they say, but it's
So
like,
angry, it's like they just want you to know how angry they are that you wrote this and they don't agree with you.
yeah,
Like I go like some of our posts, like we clip our article, our videos sometimes, and we'll post them in different groups. Like we have a bunch of Facebook groups,
yeah,
post them there, and some of the comments like these guys are fucking losers, or no, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, whatever. We don't know what we're talking about. We're not even acting like we know what we're talking about. But
yeah,
thank you for listening. Like that's pretty much like what it is. And it's like some people also don't read past the titles. They read the headline and then they don't read. So they don't look at the article. Like most of my headlines are very clickbaity. They're very searchable. Like if I look at how people get to all these websites, like most of our searches are through um per click are through Google. They're not through like our shares and stuff like that. So just by putting nudes in the title, people are gonna search that and they're gonna find it. They're gonna click on it. You know, so like people get so mad after when they're reading a title because the title is supposed to just bring you in and then read like clickbait. They call it clickbait, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to bring you in and then you read the details, and that's what people don't understand. And people get so fucking mad over other people's opinions that they don't even know. People don't even know me, and they get so mad. It's like I don't work for TSN. You know, I'm just a blogger. I'm just an idiot, and
Yeah,
I
but
know I'm an idiot. You should know I'm an idiot too.
but here's the thing, though. The majority, like, everything you write, it's your thought, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not creating thing because some people do that. They'll write something they don't and they don't mean, or it's not even what they think or how they feel, simply because they know that it's going to garnish a lot of clicks and a lot of views, right? Like that's also another aspect of social media that I don't quite understand. How certain, like, I get that if you make it your business, you know, and like if you're a girl and you realize that if you post pictures of your ass, you're gonna get new followers every day, and you're gonna
that's
get
all you have to
new
do.
clicks, and then you can monetize your fucking Instagram feed and this, like duh, like fucking do it. Like if
My friend's daughter has like 250,000 followers on TikTok because she's pretty.
No comment. I don't know your friend.
She's 18 years old. Well, sorry, it's my friend's cousin technically, but I'm friends with the father, her father too.
Yeah.
I know him well. So like, she's on TikTok. She's 18 years old, but she's beautiful. She's a beautiful girl, and people follow her. And she gets like people send gifts to her house without even her asking. Like they send gifts to her house, like companies. They send like T-shirts and stuff for her to wear and shit. And it's
because they wanted to be in their TikToks.
Yeah, it's effortless though, and all because she's pretty.
It's a business. People, we're in a. You're younger than me, a bit younger, right?
30, yeah, I'm 34.
34, right? So I have like 2 kids, right? And I look at my kids. My son's on TikTok, and he fucking loves it. Spends a lot of time, and you know, he's a gamer, so he's either on his PlayStation or he's on TikTok looking at shit. Fortnite shit, like it's all about Fortnite for him. It's like he's on it all the time, and it's what it is. It's that's what it is today. This is the present and the future is social media and all this. It's currency for these kids. Like there's certain banks now, like if you're going for a business loan and you go, hey, by the way, I have 250,000 followers on Instagram, they're gonna go, oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, how much money do you need?
Yeah. It's all it's crazy, right? Well, 250,000 isn't enough anymore. You need to be
true. Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, there's so many people out there. Fuck, I like the random accounts. Like I'll just go on random accounts on Instagram and I see they have like 100,000 followers. Like how? I know you. You live down there.
Yeah,
like you're not somebody. You know.
I'm surprised by the amount of people that have over 1 million followers now.
A lot of people have over 1 million followers.
I'm like, what? I'm like, I could see like 30, 40,000. Right? This girl that, you know, posts completely half new pictures on Instagram or something, but then you look and she's like at 1.3 million, 1.4 million. I'm like, wow. But again,
if Instagram didn't exist, would you be a model? Because they say I'm an Instagram model or I'm an influencer or whatever. If Instagram didn't exist, would you still be a model? No. So you're not a model. Like you're basically somebody who just posts online. You're not a model. You're just somebody who gets paid to do shit. And like, it's not, I don't think it's the same thing at all.
All the terms are all a bit douchey too. I'm a content creator. I hate using that. But at the end of the day, that's what we all are. If your business is on any sort of platform that's social media, you know?
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, even podcasting. I mean, it's just a different way to put your fucking content out there. Like,
well, it's content, right?
Everything is content. That's what I think certain people don't realize. Like as a pro wrestler, if I can build my name to garnish followers and people that pay attention to me, that want to come see me wrestle, they're also going to pay attention if I have a podcast. They're also going to pay attention if I'm selling merch, if I'm selling this, if I'm doing this, because they're a fan of what got me into the public's eye, which for some it's pro wrestling, for some it's sports.
Yeah.
Like that's why when I look at young athletes now, the smart ones understand that they use their sport simply as a way to have millions of people follow them. Of course they're good, of course they're passionate about the sport, but they also understand that if they weren't a basketball player, no one would know who they were.
Absolutely.
Right? So
It's very true.
right? If fucking I don't know, Kevin Durant wasn't a basketball player, no one would know who he is. If Kyrie Irving wasn't they understand that, and then they use that platform, quote unquote, in order to push their ideologies or the rest of their shit, right? If they have a podcast, for example, or whatever it is, and then it works out, then they end up having, hey, I make millions of dollars being a basketball player, I also make millions of dollars being a podcaster, or from my Instagram page, and then they're just like, who is it, the guy that just drafted by the Hornets there, Ball,
Is
it
LaMelo?
LaMelo?
LaMelo, yeah.
And he's like
It's sad that we said his father's name first. Like, go fuck
Yeah,
that guy.
no,
Like, go fuck that guy.
He's a good basketball player though, LaMelo. I'm
LaMelo's
surprised.
a very good basketball.
Yeah,
All three of them are good basketball players. They're all good. All three of them are good basketball players. You know, LiAngelo didn't really make it. He got cut by the Pistons, but you know, they're good, man. They're
But
good. Their father's a loser though. But.
Oh man, but you got to give it to him. He did raise 3 sons that made it to the NBA.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. They seem like good kids too. I'm not denying that, but his father is annoying as fuck.
Yeah,
like he's just relax, calm the fuck down. You know, like
but
it's not about you. I think
it's hard for him, I think, when he garnishes as much, if not more, attention than his sons, right? Through his sons, right? So
yeah, exactly.
And it gets douchey for him.
And then they started the brand. They started a big baller brand.
Brand.
Yeah, and then like, you know, he tried to like jump on, and the shoes were awful at first, and they were charging like $400, and these shoes look like, you know, like those black shoes you see at Winners that look like Nikes, but they're not.
Yeah,
that's what they look like.
Yeah,
and they're for $400. They almost went bankrupt. Even their business manager left. He's like, "Fuck."
Didn't they go bankrupt though? They still exist.
I think they did go bankrupt. Yeah, because I haven't seen it. Even what's his name? Who's the older brother? Lonzo. He had a tattoo, big baller brand, and he tattooed over it.
Yeah, because I think that they're no more like the shoe. Like,
there's no way you can't just get into the shoe game. You're competing with fucking Michael Jordan, Under Armour. You know what I mean? It's not. You're never gonna be able to break those two. Adidas, you'll never be able to beat them. Like, who's gonna buy big baller brand when I can buy Steph Curry's Under Armour shoes, or I can buy even Kawhi's New Balance shoes, or I can buy Jordans or LeBron's or KD's or Kyrie or Dwayne Wade, or like all these people have their own fucking shoes, and they're much better basketball players than Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
So like there's nobody. It's such a stupid market to get into. T-shirts and stuff I can understand because, you know, whatever. But their logo looked so cheap. Their logo looked like something you would buy at Walmart.
Yeah, everything looked like it was mass produced by a it's very low end products. That's the aesthetic that you get, right? It looked, you're absolutely right. I mean, and it was I think it was a huge factor why that brand never, and considering that they didn't have a real superstar behind the brand either, right? Like he thought his son was he is, but he's not a fucking Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Steph Curry, right?
I think that with Lonzo is a very good secondary player. He's a very good complement to your star.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be a good complement to Zion Williamson. He'll be a good complement to Ingram. Like, he's a complement to those guys, and he's a good player. He's a good leader. So I like the guy. I've always thought he was good. He's not going to be the guy that's going to bring you to a championship alone. That's for sure. You're
not winning a championship if he's the best player on your team.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That seems to be the measuring stick in basketball now, right? A lot of these guys go, I hear it in the media a lot, in sports media, where they go, the simple question is that if he's the best player on your team, do you win a championship? And a lot of these guys, and you know, there's some that are on the fence, like Kyrie Irving. I don't believe that if he's your best player on your team, you're winning a championship.
I agree.
You know, and then, but Kevin Durant, if he's the best player on your team, you definitely can win championship, right?
Sure.
And I think you're going to see it with the Nets, but like,
I don't think they'll come close though.
Right now, you don't think so?
I don't think this year. I don't think the Nets are gonna win the championship. I don't even think they're gonna make the finals. They're gonna have to get by Toronto. They're gonna have to get by Boston. They're gonna have to get by Philly. If Philly gets James Harden,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to get by Milwaukee, Miami. Miami might get James Harden, but they might have to give up Tyler Hero.
I love Miami. I
That's another thing. So
love
we talked about
Miami.
stars. Like Jimmy Butler's a good star, but he's not like he proved to be the guy that can be the number one and bring your team to a championship. But they needed somebody else, and it was obvious they needed somebody else. They did have a lot of injuries in the finals, so I will say that, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome. Maybe they would have extended them by a game or two, but
Do you think though, if you take the Heat, same exact team in 3 years, more experience, Tyler Hero, way more developed, not just a shooter, even with was it the other white kid there, Anderson, the tall, lengthy guy, and then Bam Adebayo, a little bit more mature. You don't think they can win a championship just with
yeah,
Jimmy
they can.
Butler?
But who are they playing against?
Yeah, that's it, right? Like
Who
an
are they playing
older
against?
LeBron James, but
If they play the same Lakers team today, then yes, they have a good chance to win. If they progress in the right direction. But if let's say all the cards are in your hand and you're progressing in the right direction, I do think that they can beat the Lakers of today. Not of today, of future Lakers, like in 3 years from now, LeBron being 36 years old, 37 years old, so I do see that aspect in it. Actually, no, LeBron's about a year older
36.
than me, I think. Yeah. So yeah.
They're a team. I mean, Anthony Davis is what, like, he's going to be the best player on that team soon. If he's not, a lot of people might say he's already the best player on that team, right?
No.
You don't think so?
No. LeBron James is the best player in the league. There's no. LeBron James is the best player of all time. Like, as much as I don't like the guy, I mean, I think he's very annoying. I think he jumps on people's fame and he tries to make everything about himself. And you know what I mean? Like, he can tell that he has a good heart and he does a lot of good things in the community and shit like that. But he's just annoying. He's still the best basketball player I've ever seen. And nothing against. That's the thing is, like, people don't like, now there's this whole new argument who's the greatest of all time and who's the best player of all time.
Yeah.
So like the greatest of all time would be Michael Jordan, so he's the GOAT. But the best player of all time is LeBron James. Like, people say these things, it's fucking ridiculous. And I was an idiot for falling into these arguments because we can't compare Michael Jordan and LeBron James. The reason why we can't compare is because they've lived in two completely different eras. Eras don't translate. I can't compare Bobby Orr to Cale Makar. I can't compare Wayne Gretzky to a guy that played in 1930. I can't compare them because the eras are different. You know what I mean? I'm not going to compare Terry Bradshaw to Ben Roethlisberger. Very different eras. You know what I mean? And that's the part that bothers me is everybody's like, oh, he's better. How about we just accept the fact that one guy was the best in his era and the other one was the best in the other era, and we all shut the fuck up. The reason why, and it's back to our whole Jake Paul thing, people like to hate on people. People love to hate on LeBron. Love to hate on him because he's so good, because he's so he wants attention. You know what I mean? Like his speech when he won this year was, I want my damn respect. Like, people respect you.
Yeah.
People respect you.
It's just the haters are louder right now. So that's
because he gives them a microphone.
Yeah.
When he's like that, he gives them a microphone. He talks shit. When he says things like about Kobe Covington, he's like, people see me 10 out of 10 times, they shit their pants. Listen, all due respect, LeBron James, and I don't like Kobe Covington. Kobe Covington beats the shit out of LeBron James. And you know it, I know it. 99% of UFC fighters can beat up LeBron James. The only guys that can't beat up LeBron James are guys that weigh 150 and below.
Yeah.
That's the only guys that can. Khabib takes LeBron James down and wipes them up with him, and he's 5'8" and he weighs 170 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's the reality of the beast. And I think that he says things like that are very cringy, but I don't know if he's doing it on purpose. So I've kind of grown to not like the social media person of LeBron James. Everything else I do respect for sure. He's good.
I think a lot of these kids, the young kids, they're very awkward. So when we only see them through social media, and I think they might not come out as so genuine and transparent, I guess.
Yeah.
Through social media, because they know they have a quote unquote image to protect, so they can't but I do see basketball is probably the sport where I do see a lot more freedom, or a lot more acceptance of who they really are as people.
Yeah.
And then they kind of try to put that before the sport.
Well, that's the thing is basketball is the only sport that has a player on their logo. So they have like their logo is an actual player. So that shows how they show like the player is more important. It's kind of hidden in the message. And it's the most individualistic team sport, I like to call, where you can win with one guy, or you can have a guy become bigger than the team or bigger than the league, and which is the best way to market yourself. If hockey did that, I can't even say that because hockey wouldn't do it, because hockey is like the good old boys club. Everybody likes each other. Like everybody, you can see it in the coaching staff. It's always the same coaches that get rehired all the time. It's like a circle. So when you have a guy that becomes bigger than the team, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like how much shit did Alex Kovalev eat in Montreal because he would take pictures next to a plane, you know, in his pink V-neck and his scarf. He would get shit for these pictures and stuff because he was branding himself. And hockey players don't brand themselves the way basketball players and football players do, which is what you have to do nowadays. And it goes back to our influencer conversation. How are these guys going to make money when their careers are done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Paul Bissonnette is probably the best example. The guy he wasn't a good NHLer. Obviously, he was a good hockey player. He made it to the NHL. He played for like 5 years, 3 different teams, whatever it was. And he's a good player, but he became a fighter. He was popular on Twitter because he's funny. And that's how he built his persona. And now he's probably making more money now than he ever made playing hockey. So you have to be able to let these guys become their own men. And the NBA allows them to build their own brands.
Yeah.
Other sports doesn't allow them. Like the NBA shuts them down. You can't wear your own kind of shoes. You have to wear this color shoes. Peyton Manning got fined 1 year because he wore Johnny Unitas' style cleats from back in the day on like an anniversary for Johnny Unitas, and he got fined for wearing those shoes. Like, go fuck yourself. You know, like there's all these little things, and it's like, D'Angelo Williams got fined for wearing pink gloves when it wasn't Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Like, how stupid is that? Like, he wore pink gloves to sell the product, to promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And because it wasn't in October and he wore pink gloves, then he got fined. Like, it's so fucking stupid. And that's what the NFL and the NHL and the MLB don't allow. They don't allow for the branding, you know?
Well, and you see the struggle now with the new generation of players coming in. I see it in baseball a lot, where the younger generation, the new generation, is more flashy, and then they kind of like go like, this is the new style of baseball that we play. We play by our own rules, right? Bat flips, we're more showboat. That's just who the fuck we are as a
like
generation.
Fernando Tatis is like junior. Fernando Tatis Jr. He's the best example. Yeah,
exactly. Him and Asuna or Acuna in Atlanta. Like, these guys are good and they back their shit up on the field, and so let them fucking have fun, you know. And I think the NFL is probably the most tight about it, but I could see some glimpse, like for me, I'm a Steelers fan, so I'll pay attention. Like, if I look at Juju Smith, like, you could tell like he's trying to like break that mold. Like, he's the new generation of player, like super nice, super humble, but he's flashing when he needs to be.
Yeah, he does his little dances before the games. It kind of bit him in the ass this week, I think.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, last week against the Bills. But that result would have happened regardless if Juju Smith danced on the logo or not. I think
100%.
Yeah, I think the Steelers were kind of like, okay, you've played well up to this point, and now
it's
kind of
dwindling now.
Yeah. So all these guys, you know, they're trying to build their own brands, and Odell Beckham was the same thing. As after he made that crazy one-handed catch against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, it was over. Like, everybody knew who he was, and he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna run with it. And good on him. Make your money. Do what you have to do. Marshawn Lynch, Skittles, all that stuff. Do what you have to do. LeBron James has it. Count your chicken. He's like, count your chicken, save your bread, all that shit. Count, like, bring it in, because you're not going to have this career for a long time. And there's guys who have short careers that are able to make money and market themselves the right way. And that's it. And after football, hockey, baseball, basketball is done, fighting is done, they're able to do other stuff. You know, Paulie Malignaggi is another one. Paulie Malignaggi was a crazy world champion boxer. And when he realized his career was kind of like falling and he wasn't boxing as well, when he lost Adrian Broner, he's like, let me take a stab at this announcing stuff. And he's one of the best announcers. I love listening to his fights. Yeah. So there's all that. And it's like, you have to find the way. Brendan Schaub is the same way. Brendan Schaub has really marketed himself to be like this great fighter. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't a great fighter. And people trust his opinion, because at first, when he first came out, he was right about a lot of things. And he went after the UFC about the whole Reebok deal. And he was able to do things on the side. He did his own. He wasn't, when he fought on the main card once, and he wasn't on the countdown. He wasn't on the embeddeds. So what he did was he paid a YouTube production crew, a production crew, to do his own embedded for the week. Like, they followed him for the week, and he posted it. And now you see a bunch of guys doing that, So it's like, there's that kid, Bryce Mitchell. He has his own YouTube channel. Sugar Sean O'Malley has his own YouTube channel. He has Twitch. Mighty Mouse he's on Twitch. He plays fucking Xbox all the time. He has like 1 million followers on Twitch. Like, he's even sponsored by Xbox, Mighty Mouse, So these guys, they know what they're doing. And if you don't see that, and you're just focused on the game, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And that's what the world's becoming to, that Jake Paul can fight Conor McGregor. Full circle.
Boom. Man, thanks for doing this. We've been at it for an hour and a half. I'm trying to keep it at this.
But like I said, we can do this forever. Like, that's
forever.
The thing. Adam too, Adam Kaplan. We can do this I can do this for another 4 hours.
Dude, I had so much fun. I had so much fun on his podcast. Like, I don't do a lot of podcasts.
He's great, huh?
But I enjoy doing podcasts. If you're gonna give me an opportunity to talk, and it's not me, the host, man, you better be ready to listen, because I'm like, yo, bitch, it's about me. This is me time now. Let's go. Shine the light, baby. Shine the light.
He's good, Adam. He's very good.
He's
good voice.
Good. He's like you. It's a lot of things that we kind of like, we're built a bit from the same cloth, right? Like, we have similar interests, and we could just talk forever, And then if I shoot a point out there, he was able to just make it work, have the conversation. Same thing and then I had him on my podcast, and then the conversation, like, it was a different, I think it was a bit different for him. He wasn't used to just a free flowing conversation. I think he was more expecting like a question and answer thing. But I kind of like don't really do that. It's just like, hey, let's get high and let's have a fucking conversation. Can we do that?
I don't he stopped smoking weed. I don't know if he got back into it, but he used to smoke a lot of weed, and he stopped it recently. Yeah.
No, he's great, man. It's good. I'm in right now, like I have you guys that I Hot Sauce Sports doing content. Then I have my buddy West, we spoke about earlier, with Gabagool and Aid. And then there's Adam. There's starting to be a lot more of these podcasts and a lot more of this content out here. And I'm just trying to figure out like where, if this is a really viable business future opportunity, or if it's just really like, does it stick to the passion project? Either or, whatever decision I end up making, especially with this podcast, I'm still going to do it. It's just like, if I decide that it's just a passion project and I don't care, I might not be as strict with it, but I know that I enjoy doing it because it gives me an opportunity in a fucking pandemic world to have conversations with cool people and people that
from other cities that you would never have on your show. Like I had a CFLer on this week. He was in his house in North Carolina. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Kid from the NCAA. He was in Victoriaville at the time, but I could have spoken to him while he was at Syracuse. So like, there's people everywhere. Like, we have an interview on this. Oh, actually, you would like this. She has like a world record for the most consecutive Ironmans ran by a woman. She ran 5 consecutive Ironmans. She's coming on this week or next week. And she's gone after a few. She did 23 marathons in 23 Ironmans in 34 days.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
I'll send you her contact info. She's trying to get out there too, so you should have her on.
I would definitely get in contact with her. Thanks, man.
And she has a crazy story too, like how she got to that point. Like, she has a very interesting story. You would love to have her on. For us, it's going to be like a half an hour segment, but for you, I think you'd be able to talk to her for like an hour.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Well, maybe I would definitely love to talk to her. What's you guys have anything new you're working on for Hot Sauce Sports? Is there like a vision? What's going on with you guys?
Our vision now is continue doing the podcast. We have 2 shows where we might be launching a hockey show with these guys that contacted us. And then another guy who has a soccer show. He wants to do his soccer show. So we might have like a few podcasts under our belt, but what we're working on now is growing the website and growing our followers so we can try to be able to monetize this. We have been able to, so it's been pretty, decent. We haven't taken any profits, and none of us have, so it's all been free so far. But we're working, and we're trying to get to the point where, we don't have to work, if
Yeah, oh
that's
yeah.
if that's going to be possible. We're a lot of guys, so it's going to be hard. It's going to take a long time for that to happen, for all four of us not to work, plus our bloggers and our interns and stuff. So we've built like a little community so far. Like I see a lot of the names that people have, I don't know, that are commenting on our posts and stuff like that. So we're building slowly the small like following, and we're building like hashtags and sayings. Like there's a few things I'm going to start trademarking, and
That's awesome.
yeah, we patented the logo and all that stuff. So yeah, we're working.
That's awesome. It's at least, I love hearing that you guys are like aiming for something, right? It's like you're just growing. Right now, it's the growth phase. Like you're trying to do every little thing right and make sure that your podcast organically and slowly grows. Like even though you'd like that blast of 100, 200 followers, most chances are you need to understand that you're going to get once in a while 1, 2 followers, and then it's just going to go, that 2 is going to turn into 4 or 4 to 8
2 years,
right? So yeah,
it's been 2 years, so we're getting there now. We're finally getting there, and it's the one follower at a time, because I have this image in my head. If I get 1 follower, then I have like his whole umbrella. Like the way I picture it, it's very weird. Like I picture you as a follower, and there's a light shining on all your followers. You know what I mean? Like, when you have a flashlight in a black room, it only shines like in a cartoon.
Yes.
When you move it around, that's the way I picture it. And there's like every time I get another follower, another flashlight opens and another flashlight opens, and then all of a sudden the room is like complete. I'm not even high, and I'm talking like this, and the room is like completely wide open.
I totally get you, man. I totally get you, man.
I'm fucking totally, man. I see the flashlights, dude.
The light, you got this, dude. I tried Facebook ads.
They're good.
I just tried it out. I put the minimum. I wanted to see if it would. I did it with my page, my Facebook page. I didn't do it about a post. I did it, and I ended up getting a few followers on Facebook. Maybe 3 or 4 in 5 days. So I was like, okay, like it works, but I could see that you need to be better. Like it, and then I got emails from Facebook saying, look, there's someone here willing to help you if you need help, or trying to make it better. So I kind of understand that if I am going to try to monetize this as fast as possible, then I'm going to have to do things like this. And
you need I was talking with the guys the other day, and I said we need to get journalists, because journalists now have nothing to do. Okay, they can't travel, they can't do anything, so they have all this time. Especially hockey journalists, like you have to look at the seasons. Right now, there's no hockey, so they're not traveling anywhere. They're just online at home. They have 20 minutes to give you. Find the time to take it from them. So like, just message people. So we just message everybody, and now this week he actually followed me on Twitter. And I was like, wow, I actually got this guy to follow me on Twitter. I've read him before. It's Danny Gallagher. He wrote Blue Monday. He wrote a bunch, like 10 Expos books. So he followed me on Twitter. I followed him back, and we started talking, and he's coming on this week, and we're going to talk about the Expos. Wow. And like little things like that. So you get all these journalists and all these authors.
Yeah. I need to start digging a bit more, like trying to reach out to you guys. Hey, do you have somebody maybe it'd be interesting to have on my podcast and stuff like that? Because it's like, I enjoy having you and all my friends on. That's fucking nice. But you want to
change the pace a bit.
I've had 8 episodes and 7 of them are wrestlers. Or 6. It's like, I love these guys, but I don't want people start thinking that this is just a wrestling podcast. Cause it's even when I have wrestlers on, that 90% of the conversation, I don't want it circling around wrestling. I want to know how they think, their mindset, and I'm interested in so many other things. I have this vision in my head for this podcast, but it's not about the podcast. Like I have this vision in my head about a online media company where the podcast would be one aspect of that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I think the vision that I have is very similar to yours. So that's why I kind of I got a lot of I don't like to call it stealing, but I'm like, let me borrow this little idea from
take all of it. We take it from other people. So it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Right. If you look at my, like, you could tell that I listen to Joe Rogan. It's basically trying to do this a similar thing with my own twist on it. You know, I
Yeah,
just
we're ripping off Barstool. We're trying to rip off
do you
Barstool.
listen to Dan Lemitard?
I not that I don't like him, I just don't. Like I don't I barely have any time to listen to anybody new. I listen to your show, I listen to our show when I'm working. I
Mm-hmm.
listen to Joe Rogan depending on the guest. Now I used to listen to every Joe Rogan episode. Now it's depending on the guest.
Yeah, me too.
Chicklets episode. Um
Oh, your microphone turned off. Oh,
yeah. Okay, we're good now. Yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I listen to Chicklets every episode. Foreplay, it's a golf podcast. Listen to that. I listen to a random Bill Burr here and there. Like I'll go like I have like a rotation of a few podcasts that I listen to. Adam Kaplan show too I listen to, and so it's hard for me to get other shows like ESPN shows and stuff. But I'll listen to like Halwani once in a while. But Lebitard
Yeah.
never.
He,
I
there,
should listen to Halwani more often. I don't know why I don't.
he's good, Alwani. I started.
Yeah.
As far as sports, that you guys and the Lebitard show is probably the only ones. They crack me up. These guys, they're fucking funny, and I get their show. It's not even about the sports. I listened. It's they sometimes they'll go fucking a whole episode barely speaking about sports. You know, like they'll talk about what's in the news.
They're funny, yeah. They're really
fucking funny, but it works.
Especially when he brings his dad on, Stu Gatz.
Dude, it's so.
You have to listen to the episode actually with Ariel, or when he was on Lebitard's show, and he was on the show, and he you know, Lebitard brings on Dave Sampson every once in a while.
Yeah. But
Like
they have they have a weekly episode. Yeah.
And Ariel came on and ripped him a new asshole.
I remember.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh,
yeah.
It was unbelievable. I loved it. It's so much.
Yeah.
So much. I would love to get Ariel on. Like Ariel is my goal actually. I have a pyramid of who I want to get in certain areas of like certain sports and stuff like that. And for MMA, Ariel is the number one. I want him.
When I started relaunching the podcast, I made a list of guests, you know, that I wanted to have on. Most people I knew, right? But I was like, I need to put a name on this that's like that I think is unattainable right now, but one day I'll be able to.
I was one guy to get the next guy, get the next guy, get the next guy.
But it's not like it was like I didn't want to have somebody like you know, it's not like I was gonna put Joe Rogan on my list, course, right? Because I'm like that's like putting God, like it's like barely exists in my head. We don't live in the same universe. But my second, like I put Robin Black because I fucking love the guy.
I've messaged him a few times. He doesn't answer.
Right? Oh, you've messaged him a few times? Yeah.
A few times. I delete the message and I wrote back.
It's he's on my list because I love his content and I love him as an MMA. Like below, there's Joe Rogan and him. Like I just love his breakdowns. And
just as you called me, I was watching one of his breakdowns.
Oh yeah,
it was Stephen Thompson in a karate tournament knocking out a guy. I have it on right now.
Okay, I have to watch that one.
If I play it, is it going to be here? Is it going to be heard?
Yes, probably. Does it?
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, forget it.
Yeah.
I'm
not set up like that. But yeah, see, I have that name on my list. Like you know, like one day, hopefully, I'll be at a point where I can have him, and then after that, it's going to open. Because I understand that at one point, I'm going to have a guest on if this keeps going, where it's going to open a door for more viewership, right? Yeah. And then after that, people are going to, hey, nice podcast, blah blah blah. Like the moment you have people that are going to start reaching out to you to be like, hey, I might have a good thing. I'm selling a book or whatever it is. Then you're like, now I'm golden because now that's exactly to the point you want to get at, right? Right.
Yeah.
But man, I'm happy with you guys, what you're doing, man. And it's great, man. It's great. And yeah, man, thanks again for coming on. And like I said, we could fucking speak forever, but hey, I got a Saturday afternoon to go do some shit now. So
perfect. Actually, so it's Hot Sauce Sports Anywhere and Terry Tam on Twitter. I'm starting in like an MMA show with Tarps Off Sports.
Wait, who?
Tarps Off Sports. It's like this company. It's these guys that I've partnered up with in Hamilton, and they have a big following. So they asked me if I wanted to do an MMA show with them, so I'm doing it with them. So we're starting that in a couple weeks.
So Hot Sauce Sports, and you guys are on YouTube.
YouTube, Spotify, yeah, follow us everywhere. It's just Hot Sauce Sports everywhere. We made sure that was possible. And myself is Terry Tam on Twitter. And that's it, man. Follow me on Twitter and you'll see everything.
Follow him. Follow Hot Sauce Sports. Thanks again, man. And
Thanks, buddy.
we'll talk
Appreciate
soon.
it. Yeah, man.
Okay,
Cool.
bye.